Hey guys, and welcome back to Year One Room Schoolhouse. If you are new here, my name is Mary Barfield and I'm a homeschooling mom to a rising first grader and third grader. And this video is the second video in a video series I'm doing about reflections on this past school year for 2024-2025. The first video, if you missed it, I'll link it up here, was all about my daughter's individual subjects and those curriculums, their goals, how we did with their annual goals, and just overall commentary on anything to do with them that they were doing individually and not together. This video is going to be all about our group subjects, the curriculum we loved, the curriculum we paused, the curriculum that we just dropped altogether. Actually, I don't think there's anything that we dropped. Oh, there is one thing we dropped I gotta talk about. But it will be coming back around for next year, so that's the exciting part. But that's all the goodness that you're gonna get in this video. So grab a drink, fold some laundry, we're gonna get chatty and talk about group subjects. All right, so we are going to cover our literature picks. So these are free reads that we decided to read, but we scheduled them into our schedule, so they're not quite free. But these are books that just didn't have any tie to any of the subjects, just good literature that I wanted the girls to read over the year. We're gonna talk about geography, science, Spanish, history, and the riches are more enrichment type subjects. So that's what we're going to cover in this video. So first off, I thought I'd start out with our literature picks. We, for the most part, enjoyed everything that we picked that we were going to read. I actually did a whole video on this, I think last summer. I'll link it up above, talking about what books we wanted to read this year. And for the most part, we stuck to the list. We made a few adjustments, which I'll talk about. So to start off, the first book we read was actually during our June schooling time last year, which is like our summer school, and it was Little Women Classic Start Series. So this is an abridged version. It's only the first part of the story, so it goes up till Meg's wedding, and it doesn't go any further than that. So if you have a more sensitive learner who might be a little bit upset by Beth's death, then this would be a really good version for you to read, because it doesn't go that far into the future where she ends up passing away later on. We ended up pairing this with, I think it was a PBS series about, it was Little Women. I think it was a 3 episode miniseries. And that did go past Meg's wedding, so the girls and I did have to talk about it. They handled it pretty well because the series that we watched did a really good job of handling that kind of heavy, subject. And so I think it was actually a good idea to bring it in because my girls have had, unfortunately, to deal with a lot of life and death over the last year. We've lost 2 dogs in the span of just under a year, and they witnessed it themselves. And so I think it was good for them to kind of talk about the, cycle of life and death and just how it is part of nature. And so it didn't ruin their opinion of Little Women. They love this book. Of course, they're little girls, so I think they relate well to Mary, Jo, Meg, and Beth, and just, I don't know, the shenanigans they get into and then the hard times and the good stuff that happens. It's very easily relatable to them, even if it is in a different time. So big thumbs up. Love the unabridged version. Cannot wait for them to read the original Little Women when they're a little older, maybe middle school, I think is when we're going to attack that. Next, my girls loved Charlotte's Web, y'all. This is one of my favorites from childhood, and I was just so ecstatic to have the girls have the same response that I had to it. And something I kind of forgot is how much you learn about spiders and about the animals on the farm. This is actually, I would even go as far to say that you could do a nature study off this if you were learning about spiders, because the girls learned a lot about them and they retain the information because it's a narrative, they're learning it in context rather than just facts being thrown at them. So big thumbs up. The girls love Charlotte's Web. Next, we read the classic, The Velveteen Rabbit. This version of it I cannot find in print anywhere, but if you can get your hands on this version, the illustrations are absolutely gorgeous. The girls really liked this one, so much so that they started going around. Well, my youngest, she was like, so if I say my rabbit's real, she has a little stuffed animal called Bun Bun. If Bun Bun's real, is he real? I was like, if he's real to you, he's real. So it was kind of a cute, sweet, just, wholesome story about kids and their stuffed animals in the world of make-believe. Next, we have another classic start, The Secret Garden. The girls Also absolutely loved this one. And something I was going to say, if you use the classic starts with the, again, they're all unabridged, and just the language is a lot easier for young children to understand. They all have what do you think questions for discussion in the back of the book, and it follows chronologically in the book. So as long as you're reading, you know, and looking back every chapter, you can see this question was like chapter 1 and chapter 2, this one was from chapter 2, chapter 3. So you can ask those questions after the chapter is over if you want to create more discussion after you get a narration from your kiddo. With that being said, I didn't require narrations for these because I require narrations for everything else. These are just for us to enjoy. However, with the classic starts, I did go ahead and just use the discussion questions to my advantage, and the girls really liked that and kind of got them thinking about what we were reading. Next, we read Stuart Little. We did a lot of E.B. White this year, and it was really great because the girls really enjoyed the writing. He is a little bit verbose sometimes in his descriptions and in his characters talking. Some of them are kind of a little bit over the top and over talkative, but it's kind of, I don't know, the girls kind of thought it was funny. So Stuart Little is one that I'd never actually read. I had only seen the movie as a kiddo. So this was kind of nice to see it in written form, and we watched Stuart Little after the fact. Oh, by the way, with any of these, if there's a video for it, I went ahead and had the girls watch it after the fact, and we kind of did a Venn diagram, compared and contrast the differences between the movie and the book, and they loved that. We did it on a Friday. It was kind of our Friday movie day, or Fun Friday, and they really, really got a lot out of it. But this was another favorite. They really, really enjoyed Stuart Little, so this was a good pick as well. So next up, we were moving into December, and I basically scheduled one book a month, and it worked out perfectly. So for December, if you guys had watched any of my videos, you guys know that we went into the magical world of Harry Potter. I'm a big Potterhead, y'all, and by consequence, my kids are too. So we read The Sorcerer's Stone, the first book, and we're going to be reading one book every Christmas, every December from now until they age out of the books, until we get to the 7th book. And we paired this one. I didn't use literature guides for any of the other books, but I did get one for Harry Potter because, y'all, I have a whole video on this, so I'm not going to go into detail about it. I'll link it right up here for you. Go check out Forest Rain Wander Etsy shop down below. She's got wonderful literature guides for these. We've already purchased the Chamber of Secrets one for this coming December. She's currently working on Prisoner of Azkaban and the Goblet of Fire, the 4th one. And so as she's working on those, and as we do one per year, it'll actually pan out perfectly that the study guide will be available for the next December for the 3rd book, and so on and so forth. But also the girls will grow 1 year older with the books, because the content does mature as you get into the book series, but they will be maturing and able to handle the mature themes that pop up, because they will be growing with the books too. And it's going to be perfect, y'all, because we literally had the best December reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This guide is literally beautiful. It has so much in it, copywork, narration. There is a Waldorf, Charlotte Mason inspiration in it. You can absolutely see that. She has a main lesson book, which I created these for the girls. Each girl got one of these craft books, and we did, after each chapter, a drawing for them. We kind of did it more as a narration notebooking rather than a main lesson book, but it's fine. We made it our own. And then also each kiddo, which I only did this for my oldest daughter. I will print one of these for my youngest daughter now moving forward. She will be writing, but she wasn't really writing at that time. But here, there's lots of funness in here. I don't want to go too much into depth because I don't want to make this video long, so go check out that review video I did on this. And if you do it, I have to highly recommend the Mina Lima version of the Harry Potter books. We have the normal Harry Potter books. These put a whole different magicalness to it. It's got little flip outs and cutouts. Like here's his letter to go to Hogwarts. I mean, y'all, the girls loved it. It totally added to the magic of it. So I would highly recommend it. If it is in your budget, get the Mina Lima illustrated pop-up books. She has only done this, though, unfortunately, for the first 3 books. Starting with the 4th book, she's not doing it anymore because the problem, from my understanding of what I read, was that it would make the books too thick to actually publish and bind. But at least we'll get to read these for the first 3 books, and my girls will be younger in these books, so they'll enjoy it more. And by the 4th book, maybe they won't care that I don't have the pop-ups and the fun illustrations. I don't know, we'll see. But definitely recommend, if it's in your budget, get this. They're roughly around $20 each, so it's not terrible when the grand scheme of things. Next, we did another E.B. White. So in January, we read The Trumpet of the Swan. This was a nice, cozy read. It was perfect because it was really cold outside, and I've never read it, and it was a really good read. It's about this swan that can't trumpet. Basically, he doesn't have a voice. It brought up some other conversations about people who can't speak and how they overcome that stuff, how he overcame his inability to speak. It's a really good story, very wholesome. There's a lot of geography in it unintentionally, as well as nature. So this could be used, I would consider this as a geography or nature book, because he flies all over the place and they talk about it. You could create a map to it. There's so much you could do with these E.B. White books. They're so good, y'all. So the next book we had scheduled, we did not read, at the behest of my youngest daughter, because she literally put her foot down and said, I don't like Winnie the Pooh. And I was like, oh, okay, you have a very serious opinion about this. I have a beautiful copy of it too. It's hardbound, it's cloth covered, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to give up on it. I might try to bring it back into our literature reads like in another year or two and see if she'll let me do it, but she just was not having it. So for February, we frankly didn't read anything for free reads. We do a lot of literature-based curriculum, so we weren't lacking in the reading department. So I was like, let's just take this month off from a free read and we'll move on. And it was fine, but it kind of made me sad because I've never really read the Winnie the Pooh series, and I kind of wanted to do it for myself as well. Next, we read another classic starts. I'm going to put a picture of it here because I've lent it to my neighbors, so I don't have it on hand. We read Peter Pan, and the girls loved it, but also at the same point, it highlighted some kind of, I don't know, as an adult reading Peter Pan, I was like, Peter Pan's kind of selfish and narcissistic. And the girls kind of pointed that stuff out too. They realized, they were like, Peter Pan's kind of not a nice guy, and he only cares about what he wants to do. And I'm like, yes, like, I'm so glad you guys were able to understand that and figure that out. So that was kind of good in that respect, because they recognize like his failings and where he needed to be, you know, his character flaws essentially, and how not everybody's great. But he also, like, we kind of talked about, was it really his fault? He was a young boy. What's the magic of it all? I don't know. It kind of brought up a lot of different discussions, and it was a really good conversation. Next, we read another one that I had never read, but I heard was a classic and needed to be read, My Father's Dragon. This was such a cute book, y'all. My daughters also enjoyed the fact that there was some kind of rudimentary black and white pencil drawings. They really enjoyed that. They enjoyed the story. It's full of whimsical and magic. And I would recommend anybody definitely read this if you have younger kiddos. They really enjoyed it. Okay, last but not least, we were supposed to read Pinocchio as our last book for May. And after talking to some moms, I decided to scrap it. Not necessarily forever, but at least right now, just based on some of the, I don't know, there's some information that's kind of a little like alarming, disturbing. I don't know what you want to call it, but we were like, let's hold off on that one. It's not like the good old Disney cute cartoon version. Apparently there's like some bits and pieces that might be disturbing to my kiddo. So I was like, let's hold off. But instead what we did was we swapped it for Little House in the Big Woods. We have now officially started the Laura Ingalls Wilder series. My oldest daughter loves this. My youngest daughter cannot sit for it. I think she does better if I put the audiobook on and I give her the book, my youngest, and she can look at the pictures inside of here, because there's again some rudimentary drawings in here, and it kind of helps engage her. We have only like 2 more chapters to go. We kind of fell behind our last week of school, so we'll be finishing that up our first week of school. And then next year I have plans to read Farmer Boy and Little House on the Prairie, and then we'll kind of every year do a few of them. So we're definitely really enjoying this. I've even considered getting the Memoria Press novel study for Farmer Boy next year. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I feel like it might just be busy work. I don't know. If any of y'all have used the Memoria Press literature guides, novel guides, can you let me know? Because I am interested, but I also don't want to do busy work for the sake of busy work. Like, did it actually add value to the reading is my question. That's all I want to know. So if you guys have any thoughts on that, please let me know. But that was the last literature pick for us for this year. As you can tell, overall, we really loved everything we read and everything I picked. There were only 2 ones that we deviated from: Winnie the Pooh, which kind of made me sad. We'll bring that back later. And Pinocchio, that was my choice. I just, I was like, rather than do that, let's do something fun like that Little House in the Big Woods. We can always hit Pinocchio later. It is a classic. It is something I want them to read, but maybe just not right now. All right, next up, let's talk about geography. We did a whole around the world study with Build Your Library Level 0 this year, and this had so much in it. This was a curriculum in and of itself that we did not really need to add anything else but language arts and math. However, you know me, I got to add other things. So we did science, we did a few other things. But this did, it had a science component, it had cooking, it had poetry, it had art, it had everything for you. So if you're doing this with a true kindergartner, you really don't need to add anything else except for math and a phonics program. But if you're like me and you have a second grader and you are somebody that just likes to add in additional things, you absolutely can. It's not an overwhelming amount of work, and it doesn't take up your entire day to do it. So we give this program a resounding 10 thumbs up. I did a whole video on it, actually a whole video series on it. If you're looking at it, check it out. I'll leave the playlist up above. Also, in that last video of that playlist, I give my official final thoughts on the entire program. It was a resounding positive. Yes, we loved it. We would have absolutely, if we could do it all over again, do it again. So just to highlight a few things from the program, it uses the Smithsonian Children's Illustrated Atlas. This is a really, really great atlas. We're going to keep this in our homeschool as a reference point. It gives you, I cannot hit the maps, I'm doing all the in-betweens. It gives you just enough information with some graphics, but it's not too much. Like here's Brazil. So really great atlas that accompanied it. So not only did we learn the geography, like the physical geography, but we also learned all about the different cultures and all the different countries. There was another book, I should have brought it down. I'll leave a picture of it here. Children Just Like Me. My girls were obsessed with this. It was all about kiddos close to their age from each of these different countries. So we got to learn about the different cultures in that way. Other way that we got to learn about the cultures was through, they did a cooking class portion of the geography using Cooking Class Global Feast. If I'm being completely honest, and you saw my reviews, this is what we cut halfway through the year because we just weren't getting to it, and it was stressing me out trying to constantly schedule it in. And the few times I did schedule it in, my girls are just not adventurous eaters right now. They're super picky, they're young, and they're like, we don't want to eat that. So I was like, why am I spending all this time and money to cook all this stuff for them not to eat it? So halfway through the year we did cut this, but if you have a kiddo who loves cooking or is adventurous, definitely don't keep this in there. We're going to come back around, I think, to geography a little later in middle school, and we're going to use this at that time. So I'm going to hold on to this. This is a really good book. Even if you're not doing a geography curriculum, or if you're creating your own, use this as a cooking spine. It's a really good book. Another way that we learned about the culture was doing some art activities. The newest version of Build Your Library does not have this as the art spine. This is the old art spine. You can still find it easily on thrift books for like $5 or less. It's called Around the World Art and Activities. She has another one on there that's pretty good, but I feel like my kids were more like their art level. They like to do paper crafts and glue and paint and stuff. This was more their speed. The current one that she has for the art spine is a little bit more eclectic and uses kind of random things that we may not have around the house, which means if I don't have it around the house, the likelihood of us doing it was probably zero. So I went with something I knew we would do and I knew my kids would enjoy. So I reverted back to the old art spine from her original version of Build Your Library Level 0. And we really, really enjoyed this book. 10 thumbs up. Another thing that she includes in the program is a science that ties into the geography. So if you're learning about South America, she has you learning about the habitat, the climate, and the animals of South America. And so she does kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it a nature study or a science, but I called it an animal study, but it's like her science nature study. And this is the main spine for that portion. It was Nat Geo Wild Animal Atlas. This was a really good book, y'all. My girls still like to pull this off the shelf, so I'm definitely keeping around for a little bit. It's good for younger kiddos. Again, good graphics, beautiful pictures, bite-sized information, so they're not feeling overwhelmed by all of it, but it's a really good book, y'all. It's pretty big. Look how big it is compared to my head. I mean, I've got a big head too, so. But yeah, that was such a good pick for our school year last year because I wanted my girls to have a really strong sense of geography and different cultures, because now we are about to start our 4-year history cycle, moving into ancients next year. And I wanted them, as they're learning about history, to know, where are these places on Earth? My kids know the continents, the oceans. They know where a lot of different countries are. Like if I say, what's a continent or a country shaped like a Chile? They're like, Chile, which is right next to Argentina, which is south of Brazil. Like they know, like it's so crazy how much they can pick it up at this age. It's amazing how their little brains are little sponges. So it's really cool. So we had a really, really good time learning about different places. My oldest daughter now wants to travel everywhere. And I was like, well, you better get a job because mommy can't afford all that now. So, but I might have jump-started her love of travel, which kind of makes me excited too. Next up, I'm going to talk about science. So I know that Build Your Library had that little science component, but my girls really like STEM. They like to learn about space, Earth, all the good stuff. So I brought in Blossom and Roots Level 0 Space Adventure. It's my great space adventure, excuse me. This was such a fun year. Literally, Charlie was like, space was my favorite. Space was so fun this year. She just had the best time with it, because the way this program works is it creates this narrative where your kiddos are being contacted by an alien Zula on another planet, and they are trying to do a book report on, or not a book report, like a report on humans and like Earth and stuff. And they're like, can you help me? And so you go on this big space travel mission and you cross all the planets. So you're learning about the planets as you pass by them in your spaceship. It's imaginary, of course, but just the narrative storyline of it really helped them, the information stick for them. My girls know all the planets. They know some of them spin backwards or sideways. They know that Pluto was a planet, but now is a dwarf planet. And they go, poor Pluto, because I talk about how when I was in school, Pluto was a planet. But they just know so much more about space than I ever knew at that age. And it's, again, sparked an interest in space and science in general, which makes my heart so warm. So it had really good spines that accompanied it. I've done a video on it. I'll leave it up above. Really, really happy we did that this year. We had a really good time learning about space. Next, let's talk about foreign language. If you guys follow me on my channel, you know what I'm about to say. Homeschool Languages Spanish 1 has been such a big hit in our homeschool. I have done so many videos on this. I'm gonna leave the playlist up above, so I won't yak your ears off, but we actually ended up going ahead and getting the Spanish 1 update, even though we were about like 75% through the original Spanish 1 version. We were like, this update is just too good. We're going to redo it next year. So we're going to go back through Spanish 1. I think that'll also help my youngest really solidify some of the language. My oldest daughter's picking it up like that. My youngest is, but she's still young. I think it'll be really helpful for us to go back through this. It'll really ingrain it in my oldest daughter's mind, but then really help my youngest daughter, not just because she can comprehend it, but it's the speaking part that she generally kind of stumbles upon. So I think going back through this updated version of Spanish 1 will really help her now with the speaking part. And then the next year we'll move on to Spanish 2 with Homeschool Languages. Also, Homeschool Languages is coming out with an American Sign Language level, and my oldest daughter, after having read about Helen Keller, is really interested in sign language. Not me here talking about trying to, you know, add on another thing to our plate next year, but I may look at just doing American Sign Language with my oldest daughter as like an elective, and no pressure to get it done in 1 year. Like, we'll just do it on the side for fun. But I'll keep you guys posted. But that's how much we love Homeschool Languages. They do such a fantastic job. It works. We have fun with it. And it gets, like, the most important thing is we actually do it. I know a lot of people let foreign language fall to the side when they're just overwhelmed and have too much going on. My kids won't let me. They love Homeschool Languages. So I'll leave a link down below for this. It's a really great program. Definitely recommend it. So really quickly, before I get into the riches and my final thoughts on this year, I actually interviewed my daughters and I have some thoughts from them that I'm going to share with you. I wanted to mention something we did drop, y'all, as a group subject. We originally planned to do Little School of Smith's American Girl History, all of the original girls this year, and do a whole US history stream. Y'all, we had too much scheduled. I was overzealous in my scheduling. So we did the first unit, Kaya, and I did a video on that up above. We really loved it. It was such a good time. We did it for the first month, but the reality is we could not keep up that pace and still have a life outside of homeschool with everything else we were doing. So we made the sad decision to not drop, I guess I should say, pause it, because now what we are doing is we are now doing, there's 9 girls that are remaining that Little School Smith has units for. We're gonna do 3 girls every year for the next 3 years, and then we will finish our American history stream. And I think it's going to be fantastic being able to spread it out so we don't feel overwhelmed and feel like we have to get it done. I think that's going to be a much better way to approach it. So it wasn't because we wanted to drop it, it's because we needed to out of necessity for our schedule. And that's okay. I learned my lesson. I learned that I can't do everything. I have to pull back, and FOMO just I need to put blinders on sometimes when I see things I like. So I know FOMO is probably the death of all homeschool moms. But so let's get into the riches real quick, and then I'll leave you with my parting thoughts on this school year. So first off, let's talk about what we did from Ambleside Online. I created this little book, and this has in it artist study, composer study, folk songs. Those 3 I got from the Ambleside Online schedule, and then I added in like handicrafts. I just said we're gonna do this term. Like, it wasn't anything crazy in here. So we only studied 2 artists this year just because it was our first time doing it. I wanted to give myself some space and time to schedule. So we did Claude Monet, and then we did George Seurat. I went ahead and got the pictures printed. So I have little cardstock photos of them. The girls really liked both of these artists. They personally preferred Claude Monet's work better than George Seurat. George, some of his work he does pointillism, but then some of it is, I can't remember. I think it's just like post-impressionistic, but they didn't like these kind of paintings where it was kind of, when you look at it far away, it's like a Mona Lisa or a Picasso, you can kind of see it, but if you get up close, it's like chaos and crazy broad strokes. They just didn't like it. They need things to be a little bit more direct with their art, but that's, I think, an age thing. I think as they get older, they'll appreciate a little bit better. But they really did like learning about these 2. They had fun recreating the paintings. We also did, for our composer study, we followed the Ambleside Online schedule. So it was Vivaldi, Chopin, and who am I missing? And Beethoven. And they really liked the classical music. They were having fun with it. However, about a little bit over halfway through the school year, my oldest daughter was like, hey, this is great, but are we always just gonna study people that are not alive anymore? And are we ever gonna study any girls? And so that kind of pointed out a weakness in my plan moving forward. Classical music and art is so important to study, but it's also important to study newer methods, people, a variety of people, including women. I have girls. I want them to see that women can be artists, and that's an option for them if they want to go down that route. So we will be pivoting from the Ambleside Online music and artist study schedule. We're going to be using Blossom and Roots Art Level 0 next year, which has composer and art study in it, which is going to be awesome. It also has an art activity included in it too, and I love that it's all in one. So we're going to go that route, and it gives us that variety that we're looking for, a little bit of old, a little bit of new, females, males, different medium, so like, wire sculptures and paint, and then clay, all the different stuff. So that's gonna be really cool for next year. But we really did enjoy our riches this year. It was super fun. And also, the girls love folk songs. They love the Ambleside Online folk songs. So we will be doing those next year as well. They had so much fun with those. We just listened to it once a week, and then they started requesting it in the car on Spotify. They had so much fun with the folk songs, y'all. Something else we really loved were these character cards from September & Co. I'll link her Etsy shop down below. She has a set of 3. They come like this, and they come on rings like this, so you can take them off if you want. One is the home card. So these are character traits that you would be talking about like when you're kind of exhibiting in the home. This one's world, so things that you're doing out in the world. And then her third ring that you can get, I think it's Bible is what it is. So if you're religious, these would be right up your alley. If you're secular, just so to note, they do have a scripture verse on each card. I just don't read it. And then sometimes it'll say like here, it'll say, how can you be more courageous? I can statements. And then you talk those over with the kids. Know what God says is true. We just skip that kind of stuff, and I kind of give my own version of that. So secular or not, these are really, really great. And you can use these to jumpstart conversations about character traits that we want to exhibit. become good, have good character. So give these a really good review. These were great. My daughters liked these, and it was a quick, easy thing that we could do twice a week in our morning time. The second to last thing I want to talk about for the Riches, piano. My girls started piano this year, halfway through the year. My father got them a piano for their Christmas present, and they love piano. We do it through Hoffman Academy, which is a free and paid resource. We are currently using the free subscription, and it has been plentiful and rich, and it's teaching them how to play piano. I will say that if they run another big discount deal, I will buy an annual membership next. Whenever they do a discount on it though, I want to try and get that extra savings if I can, because I think it would be well worth the money. It would maybe cost my girls, it would be less than $300 for the year. Whereas if I paid for an in-person tutor, it'd be over $2,000. So the cost savings are there regardless. But it just provides additional activities and practice and sheet music and all sorts of stuff. So go check them out, Hoffman Academy. We have definitely enjoyed the teacher. He is hilarious, and the girls they just think he's so funny and engaging. So I think that's why they're doing so well with it. Last but not least for morning time is something that we ended up failing at. And not failing, we just didn't do it, y'all. I mean, life, we only got so many minutes in a day. We really were trying to do not a nature study, but nature walks weekly. We wanted to go on one nature walk a week, make it a Friday or a Thursday thing. And we just were having a hard time fitting it into the schedule. The other thing I finally admitted to myself, I was like, we have a homeschool group we're a part of, and a lot of the activities we do are out in nature or at parks around the area. We meet up with park rangers. So we get a lot of outdoor time and nature hikes in. So I finally, halfway through the year, was like, Mary, take the pressure off yourself. Don't say you have to do one per week. Just do them when it makes sense. And then it became more fun for us. And when we did, we would look for birds and all sorts of stuff. And it just became more pleasant and just full of richness and fun when we stopped trying to schedule it as a to-do item. So I don't say it's a fail. It's just, I just was like, Mary, take the pressure off yourself. It's supposed to be fun. And then it started being fun, thankfully. So that's it for the curriculum. I just wanted to go over notes. This is my logbook and goal, or excuse me, my reflections and goal logbook. I have a picture of my girls here. And so I'm going to do this again for next year. It's where I write a lot of notes about my kids every week, stuff's happening. So here are some of the end of year thoughts from my kiddos. So from Charlotte, my youngest, we'll start with her. Learning how to read and space science were her favorite things because she really likes reading with me, with mommy. These are her words I wrote down. So she said it's because she likes to read with me, which like got me. Her least favorite, poetry. And if you didn't see my first video, you should in the series go watch it because this will make more sense. She said, and math. Math is what she probably excels the most at, and she was loving the most previously. This last week was really tough for her. She's really not liking the good and the beautiful. We're going to be making some changes. Go check out that other video to get more details on it. So hopefully we can bring her love of math back this next school year. Her favorite books were Charlotte's Web and The Secret Garden. Her least favorite book was The Velveteen Rabbit. And I was like, why? I thought you really liked that. And she said, because the bunny left the boy at the end. And I was like, oh, that's kind of heartbreaking. I didn't even think about it. All right, let's talk about Emery's opinions on this year. So she said for her favorites were prehistory from Build Your Library, poetry, and math. Isn't that wild? She said math was her favorite. Like, this is the kid that we were having tears with math last year. I'm telling you, math mammoth. It unlocked something in her. So I am going to actually be doing a video next, probably after this one, on what our thoughts about Build Your Library's prehistory 6-week unit. We really enjoyed it. There are some things that I would have done differently now having gone through it, and I'll give you guys those recommendations when I go through the video, but it's also purely just based off the ages of my kids and my maturity level of my kids. So, but stay tuned for that video. Her favorite thing, or her least favorite thing, which I thought this was so funny because she goes, I don't really have a least favorite thing. I enjoyed everything. I was like, that's great. But if you had to say, like, what would you say your least favorite thing is? And she said, well, I guess maybe grammar, first language lessons. I was like, well, why? And she said, she goes, because there's just a lot of repetition, but I still really like it. So it's so funny because it's like, I kind of forced her hand on this. She basically said there was nothing that she didn't like. But if she had to say one, first language lessons. Her favorite books were Little House in the Big Woods and A Year of the Dog by Grace Lynn, who's now her favorite author apparently because she wants to get all her books. Her least favorite book was The Very, Very Far North, and that was the first chapter book we read from Build Your Library. To be fair, I kind of was having a hard time with it as well. I don't know why. Charlie certainly was. She was like, I don't even know what's going on here, you guys. I'm gonna go play Magna Tiles. So, I don't know. Very, Very Far North was not our jam for some reason. All right, y'all, that wraps up the homeschool year 2024 to 2025. I cannot believe it. We are going into our third homeschooling year. I am so excited for the summer. I am so excited for next school year. If you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. We're gonna be talking about all things homeschooling on this channel. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about in this video, you know, leave that down in the comments. I am happy to speak with you guys. It brings me so much joy. And if you guys did like this video, give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, y'all.